Hey, what's up, guys? Rampedi here. Kaizer Chiefs fight to victory. Sekhukhune push Mamelodi Sundowns. And AmaZulu top of the table. We have to talk about it. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
So let's start off with Kaizer Chiefs' first home game that was played at Moses Mabhida. It seems like they're going to be playing a lot of their games there, or a number of their games there, because they've got a huge fan base, as well as in KZN. And I gotta say, they played really well. They played really well within the first half. Before the red card was shown to Yusuf Mart, you could just see that Caleb was missing. You could just feel that that target man was just missing because the chances were being created. There were even times that you could see that Richards Bay was respecting Kaizer Chiefs a whole lot. And the game turned on its head. That's when, with Richards Bay's one counter, they managed to get the ball out on the wing, have to cross it in, and then that's when Yusuf Mart makes a mistake. I mean, to be fair, he took one for Brandon Peterson as well, because Peterson, for some reason, was playing sweeper keeper. But when we're talking about sweeper keeper, he was just like far out of his box. And he was doing it so many times that you sort of wondered, was that an instruction from Matazwane, or was it the fact that, was he doing it on his own instruction as well? And I have to say, I think for me, this was another game that Matazwane showed his tactical prowess. And I say he showed his tactical prowess in the sense that in the halftime, he came up with a plan. He set everybody back and he put Sekhukhune and as well as Kamabilet up front. Kamabilet was going to be the link to get Sekhukhune to make those runs. And with Sekhukhune, he doesn't give up. He doesn't give up. He keeps on running. That's the nice thing about him. And he managed to win the penalty that eventually Dylan Solomons scored as well. And I have to give a big shout out to Sekhukhune and as well as to Dylan Solomons. For me, those are the two players that look like they playing with their hearts on their sleeves. They're giving it their all. And they deserve a lot of credit. Sekhukhune as well. For him, I'm a little bit like disappointed at the fact that by now he should be starting games. He should be starting regularly for Kaizer Chiefs. And he is pushing. He's definitely pushing. That's the most positive thing I would say about him. And as for Solomons as well, he's going to push Ndlondlo Blom. He's going to push Ndlondlo Blom for that position at fullback. And I feel that is what Ndlondlo Blom needs as well, to be pushed within that position, because I think he was getting a little bit comfortable. Also, another praise has to go to Ndlondlo. He came out after the game, apologized to the Kaizer Chiefs supporters for the mistakes that he made. And man, when he was speaking and he was speaking from the heart, I felt like saying, come here. Let me give you a hug. Come here, because this is the club you play for. The fans get upset. They get really upset. And I've never been one to be shy to say it. I did grow up supporting Kaizer Chiefs. And we get upset, but eventually we will get over it and we'll always show love and peace. That's the saying of Kaizer Chiefs. So, Ndlondlo, you are part of the team, and magnificent performance as well. Big ups to you on that performance. And we have to also focus on Richards Bay. It's not just Kaizer Chiefs that played on the pitch. I thought Richards Bay tried. I think they had a bit of lack of quality to find the back of the net. Especially, it was a huge opportunity. You're playing against Kaizer Chiefs in a sold-out stadium. Make names for yourself. Make names. And also, Brandon Peterson wasn't on point. With his feet, you could have really got to him if they tested him more. So I just felt like they didn't test him. And speaking about goalkeepers, yeah. Fortunately, there's just one more thing that's just not going to come out, right? Because Atlas one has been getting a lot of praise, and which he deserves. He deserves it, no doubt. But I've been disappointed with the fact that he changed goalkeepers with the third game into the season. Bruce Vuma went onto the bench, and now came on Brandon Peterson. And I asked the question, why so early? Why change keepers so early? Like, what was the reasoning for it? If you go back to last season, you saw, in my eyes, I felt as though that played a role to Kaizer Chiefs' downfall in the position that they finished in the league. the keepers changed. It was Kuna starting the MTN8, and then eventually it was like Pay, and then it was Brandon Peterson, and then Vuma's playing as well. The synergy between the goalkeeper and the defenders is not there. And I just feel with the third game into the season, because Brandon Peterson has to be honest, he could have cost Kaizer Chiefs points, but he didn't. And I just feel, Atozwane, you've been great. Just one thing, pick a goalkeeper and stick to it. And if you're going to separate them via competition. Give one DSTV Premiership, give one Nedbank Cup, give one MTN8. The competition. So I would rather prefer it. He does it like that. But other than that, Kaizer Chiefs, great victory and showed a lot of determination. Let's talk about a game that had two halves. So Sekhukhune taking on Mamelodi Sundowns. The first half, Sekhukhune, I was disappointed. I really was disappointed. I was disappointed because the number of signings that they signed, offensively as well, and in defense as well, I felt they showed Mamelodi Sundowns too much respect. They showed them too much respect. And one thing about Mamelodi Sundowns, I think I'm going to be saying it throughout the season, is their ability to adapt to the situation. So Sekhukhune will sit back. They'll feel like we've got this block here, we're parking this bus, there's no way Sundowns can get through it. But they always manage to find a way. You just see even those runners. And there were many times Shaulile was being called offside. Sereno was being called offside. But you could just tell they're starting to make those runs. They're starting to find those holes within the Sekhukhune defense. And then it prevailed, Shaulile scoring a great goal. And then we jump into the second half. And, TS Galaxy gave us one way of how to beat Mamelodi Sundowns. You got to be able to be so good in transition when you win the ball, in counter-attack, but you have to be so good in defense as well. And strangely enough, Sekhukhune gave us another way. They gave us another way. They scored a goal right when the second half started, straight from kickoff. They scored a goal within, 20 seconds? Lindam Tambo scoring. They went toe-to-toe with Mamelodi Sundowns. They pressed them. You could even see with Abednego coming on, they were trying to press Mamelodi Sundowns with the quick players that they had. And they had Sundowns rattled. They really did. I really felt like Sundowns was sort of struggling to deal with the press, but eventually they got a hold of it, adapted themselves, and of course Sundowns have a lot more quality. And then it became a game where both teams are now just going at each other, which was very beautiful to see. But TS Galaxy gave one method, right? And now Sekhukhune gave another method. And I think it should be a lesson for teams that are going to come up against Mamelodi Sundowns in future. Like Stellenbosch, for example, because they're playing them tomorrow. But they showed Mamelodi Sundowns that if you go toe-to-toe with them, if you defend really well, you can beat this Mamelodi Sundowns side. It's not like they're unbeatable. With that being said, though, I do feel, though, that this is not the real Mamelodi Sundowns we're seeing. This is not it. Everyone, this is Asiona EU. Like, Bongani Zungu's yet to come, Saverda's yet to come, Alende's just joined the team in training. I feel like there's going to be a Sundowns side throughout the season where you start to see the quality that they brought in. Abdul Manem as well. He's also a player that's going to come in. And I just think when they get that confidence to keep playing and they get that form as well, then Sundowns is going to be a scary side. But until that comes, teams can take points off them. We had the Cape Derby as well that played over the weekend. I'm not going to speak about the game. I think for me, I was more mesmerized by two players in particular. Two players from South America as well. Junior Mendieta of Stellenbosch and as well as Darwin Gonzalez of Cape Town City. Let's talk about Darwin Gonzalez. I think he's becoming very important for Cape Town City this season, regardless of the fact that they haven't won a game as yet. But he's starting to get in on the goals. He's starting to create goals as well. He's starting to make those runs. And one of the things you could hit Cape Town City in the previous seasons is the fact that they were always seemed so reliant on one player. It was like, if Mdansane doesn't score, then who else is going to score? And now I think he comes in and he's going to add to those goals as well. And also, Mdansane doesn't have to play with that pressure of always having to score. I think the likes of Kaizer Chiefs as well, he could also get in on the goals I love his energy. I love his work rate. He could just get his numbers up as well, and that would be able to help Cape Town City. But Darwin Gonzalez, he's also adapted. That's the advantage that he has, is the fact that he came last season. He came last season and he acclimatized to what South African football is. And this season he started off really strong with the goals and creating them as well. I'll be very interested to see what he does when he faces Kaizer Chiefs in a couple of minutes. Now there's Junior Mendieta of Stellenbosch. What a player. I love his spirit. I love his hunger. Strangely enough, when I see him, he reminds me of what Alexis Sanchez was at Arsenal. Just be able to take the game by the neck and win it for the team. He scored a couple of headers already, and he's a player that the team is definitely going to need because of such a young side that Stellenbosch is, with all the players like Antonio van Wyk as well, Dean van Rooyen as well. He is stepping up in that leadership position, and it's great to see him play in the manner that he is, because he's like a role model as well. He's a role model, and it's a surprise for me that Stellenbosch have managed to keep him, but they've done good business in keeping him as well. And Sundowns, they face Sundowns next, and you've seen how Stellenbosch is able to play against Sundowns, transition, they play with the pace. And I think Junior Mendieta is going to be very key if they can keep him fit, and as well as him as well. If he can just, don't get too many yellows for perhaps fighting, because he's just got that spirit, that South American spirit. If he can just stay on the pitch, stay fit, I think Stellenbosch can find themselves finishing in the position that they finished last season. There's a team that is top of the table that I don't think many people saw being top of the table. AmaZulu. I gotta tell you guys, Brandon Tuta has them ticking over. And they've showed resilience in having to come back from games and winning games. You saw what they did against Swallows as well. And I've tried to figure out what is key with this AmaZulu side. Because of course they've got their goal scorers. They always start their front three as well. But I think what is key for them, in the first 4 games, they've had 5 goal scorers. So the nice thing that I like about AmaZulu is the fact that their responsibility is being shared amongst the team. So Mango's getting in all the goals. Yes, of course, he's a big name, used to play at Orlando Pirates. But the fact that Quem has also scored, the fact that own goals are being scored as well, that is helping AmaZulu to be able to outscore opponents as well. And I have to say, you got to give credit to Brandon Tuta in terms of what he's done with the team, how he's had them playing as well. And they can keep the run going. Because their next game that they face is Golden Arrows. Golden Arrows have no wins. No wins at all. 1 clean sheet. They can't even score goals, and I think it's for AmaZulu to remain top of the table. They can take advantage of Golden Arrows and happen to get those 3 points. But what is also key with regards to AmaZulu as well is that Brandon Tuta already set out his goals. He's already said he wants to win the league. He is an ambitious man. I tell you, and look where he is after a couple of games. Who knows where he can take this AmaZulu side, but got to give credit to the boys, got to give credit to also Brandon Tuta himself. Marumo Gallant and Royal AM played out to a classic. The game ended 2-2, goal scorers galore. Dan Malisela facing his former club. There was just so much spice you could have added to this game. The celebration as well. Royal AM scoring late goals again. This is what they do. I think Gallants will be beating themselves up. But if there's one thing Gallants can be very positive about, is the fact that they have a special player. Ndlondlo. He's a special player. Very special. Key to Marumo Gallants. Hardly gets injured. Like, I hardly ever see him absent. It's almost as if every time Marumo Gallants plays, there's always that short player that's there. He's there. He's in the middle of the park. He's a creator. He's a playmaker. He scores goals. He had 10 goal contributions last season for Marumo Gallants. And I got to say, like, with all due respect to Gallants, I'm so surprised how he's not left or he's not been poached per se. And they've done really good. in keeping a player of that quality. So big ups to them. And he's also getting the game time, as well as I would hope and I would like for Hugo Bruce to also just have a look there. Just have a look there, because there's a player who can add something for sure. And, you know, the one player he reminds me of, do you remember what Kapinga was like for Black Leopards? I mean, do you remember what he was like? Do you remember when he led that team? Do you remember when he was creating and scoring goals for that team and dancing with the ball? That's what I see with Ndlondlo. I see that. And I can't wait to see what he does against Orlando Pirates, but a player that I just really wanted to shout out. A game that played out to a goalless draw. It was memorable for other things. Missed chances. SuperSport going up against Orlando Pirates. Pirates, I put up a video on my Twitter feed, and it was something I spoke about last week. A team that creates chances, a team that doesn't score goals, a team that has shades of last season. It seems like we're getting the Orlando Pirates all over again, because they created a lot of chances. But what was interesting was SuperSport United had the best chance, and that fell down to Gabuza. And here's the funny thing about it. Let me tell you a story. So Gabuza, before the game started, I tweeted there. I said, but Kevin Hunt hasn't started Gabuza. You know, he was last season's top goal scorer. Why has he not started Gabuza? I just don't understand. And eventually when he came on, then he had that huge miss. If anybody wants to see it, it's on social media. It's making the rounds. It is really, really bad. It puts my tweet to shame. It does. It puts my tweet to shame to ask Kevin Hunt to play him. But I must also say, I don't blame Gabuza entirely. I know everybody's going to laugh, but I don't blame him entirely, because he doesn't have that rhythm. And I don't think Gabuza is the type of player to come off the bench and play for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. He should be playing a lot more than that. So when Kevin Hunt is not necessarily playing him, I get surprised. And I just think there's a fluidity that he misses when he comes off the bench, and he's not that type of player. So with the more minutes he plays, maybe he puts that away. Maybe he puts that chance away. Look, he should be putting that chance away regardless. But he needs to get more minutes, in my opinion. And then remember, he had that partnership that he had with Bradley Krobler once upon a time. So they can form it again. So I just think it will be interesting to see who Kevin Hunt puts up front with Bradley Krobler up against Richards Bay. From one striker that missed a very obvious opportunity to another that is losing confidence quickly. Unfortunately, events happened within the game of SuperSport going up against Orlando Pirates. Eva Nga was booed. He was booed by the fans. It's not the first time. I thought the first time maybe it's a joke. It's all right. But it's not the first time. And I have to be honest, I was disappointed. I was disappointed in the sense of why they're booing a new player who just came to the club. You know, why would you try kill his confidence like that? Do you guys remember what you did to Gabuza when he was there? You know, he lost so much confidence that he left the pitch the one game. He scored, you know, he didn't score. He crossed the ball in, turned out to be an own goal, and he walked off the pitch. That's how much confidence Gabuza lost at the time. And I'm trying to ask myself, are you trying to do that with another striker? Like, don't get me wrong. I know we have our favorite players, and I know that perhaps Eva Nga's first touch could be a lot better, no doubt about it. But still, I just feel as though like it's way too soon in the season to try kill his confidence. And I don't think it's going to do Pirates any good. And by the way, if anything, Eva Nga last season in the league outscored the strikers that were there at Orlando Pirates. So what's the point of booing him? That's something I just do not understand. This early, like, can he let you guys down for like 20 games and then maybe the booing can come in? Because fans, you have every right to voice how you feel with regards to a particular player, but not after 3 games do you start booing a player. It just is not helpful, especially for a side that needs goals. So I hope that going forward, they will cheer him on, you know, they will motivate him as well. And it's something that they will need when they come up against Marumo Gallants. It's time for our weekly bet of the week. The purpose of this segment is to show you my bet slip in hopes that it helps yours light and green. The more accurate, the more cash you get. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So my bet nearly won last week. It nearly won. Unfortunately, Manchester City drew with Newcastle. Yeah, no one saw that coming, but big fight for Newcastle. New week, we're getting closer to it because only one selection was wrong. So we're getting closer. I've picked 5 games. The first game, Southampton going up against Manchester United. Both teams to score for me. I just think both defenses have the ability to leak goals. The next game, Liverpool going up against Bournemouth. I've gone with the Liverpool win and over 2.5. Purely because Liverpool's at home. I just feel like they're very confident as well. I think Salah's going to score goals. Next, Manchester City going up against Crystal Palace. Interesting game because Crystal Palace actually shows Man City problems every time they play. So I've gone with the Man City win and over 2.5. I think they're just going to be in good form. I could see Crystal Palace scoring 1 goal, but I think City wins the game. And then Bayern against Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga. I think Bayern are on fire, man. They're on fire. They're just scoring goals for fun. And Sadio Mane is helping out. So I'm going to go with a Bayern Munich win, straight win. And then the last game, Barcelona against Real Valladolid. Yeah, interesting game. I think Lewandowski just showed his prowess in terms of the goals that he did score, and as well as Ousmane Dembele as well. And I think the same thing is going to happen. We're going to see a lot of goals, and I've gone with an over 2.5. My odds, yes. What are the odds, Shakes? It's 5.64. So that's 5 times my money back. So that is my bet of the week. That is Bet of the Week, sponsored by Betway. Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za. Until the next one, all the best. Come to the end. We've come to the end. I have to run because DSTV Premiership has just started, but there was a tweet that I put out earlier in the week. Bukayo Saka of Arsenal has over 130 games for the club, just made his 100th league appearance for Arsenal, close to 20 games for his national team in England, and he's only 20 years old. I saw that and I thought, when are we going to get there? I pray that in my lifetime I'm able to see this from a South African player. But for those who's watching, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified for future episodes.